Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have the Q, but I've got I's and N's, so I may be able to play Chin or Chi. Certainly Chin would be better to resolve the duplicate N. If I can't play the Q, having the I and the N, well, I don't need to finish that because I can play Chin in row I and making Un, and I could also play Quin in column 6. Just wondering if I can get more points for my Q anywhere. Don't think so. So I think this is the better placement. Or better than Quin, rather, because Quin takes so many hooks. Uva takes an E after it, but nothing I've got. Well, not a great rack, but I do have scoring tiles in the H and the Y. I'll be looking to play off at least one of my I's. So the priorities are the Y and the I. So a play of Yoni leaving hit would work. And I can play Yoni in row J, making Bean. Only 15 points. Now what about putting my I underneath the Q? And I could also go underneath UN, so I could play off both I's. So I could play tie-in. Can't see a way of playing off both I's in the spots mentioned. Except I can. High-oi. It does keep the Y. But 27 points is a good score. It's not giving too much away. And my N can go underneath Chi and underneath B. Great, I have bayonet. Can't see anywhere for that immediately. Uni takes an M in front. DWEEB is not good. Bayoneted would be if there were a floating ED, and bayonet does not have any anagrams, I don't think. Now, what if I can't bingo? This looks a more tractable rack than previous ones. A play of Yob or Boy would leave a pretty good rack leave of AENT. Now my N can go underneath Chi, and it can also go underneath IO, but I've only got one of them. So I'm not going to have a good play running across to the double word square. B takes nothing in front of it. So I could play Boy and a Bye. I'm pretty sure Beeb isn't good. If it were good, Bayonet could play in row J. So where are the other scoring opportunities? If I put my N after Chi, then it's stopping one square short of a double word square, which I wouldn't want to do. And I can't see a play in row K ending with an N which uses the B and the Y. And I'd quite like to play off both of them, because neither is particularly bingo-y. My opponent taking a while with his move. Hopefully, even if he plays a bingo, he'll be providing floaters. But I think an S is pretty much the only floater I want to see here. I'm more interested in hooking opportunities. I'm just wondering if there's anything I haven't considered. What about a play beginning with the N and then hooking uni? Well, I think that would be a word beginning NT. That doesn't work. Okay. Great. I have bayonet and bib. And I have an even better placement here. $94. Just the one vowel and several scoring tiles. But I now have a 90-point lead. Not too many floating vowels on this board. I'm wondering if I've got anything in row H beginning with the E of bayonet. I'm going to struggle to play off 3 of my high-scoring tiles. My preference is to play off the V because it's the least bingo-y. C, M and P do have some synergy, but it's not great keeping 3 high-scoring tiles I'm unlikely to bingo next go. If I played vet in column 12, or vets, both of those take an E in front, so that's not a good idea. He takes nothing in front of it, I don't think. So I can't play through the A of bayonet unless I begin with it. This rack is not bad enough to change. Having said that, I still haven't seen a play I particularly like. If I played Peck in column 9, then I'm providing an easy scoring opportunity down from the triple word square at A8. Just looking around for anywhere I can play off 2 of my high-scoring tiles. Now I do have an M for going in front of uni, but I can't see anything good utilising that. Now I could play Kep in column 9 and pay. The C would then prevent my opponent playing down from column 8, which was the problem with Peck. And also Peck took an S in front and Sep doesn't. Sep keeps MSTV, which isn't great, and the score for Sep is also not good. Just 18 points. I guess column 12 is the most scoring opportunity available. But I just can't see a way of playing off 2 of my high-scoring tiles. Now, what about lower down column 12? So I could play Met. Well, I could play that starting here next to the A. And I could play Mets. And the reason for doing that is that it would score 8 more points and it would keep 3 consonants rather than 4. 4 consonants runs a much higher risk of having an all consonant or a 1 vowel only rack, both of which are unbingo-y and difficult to resolve. Empt is good. Can't see anywhere for that. I'm looking in row J in case I've got a play which sticks my S on the end of bayonet. Can't see anything. Well, maybe my opponent will provide a scoring spot. 40 points, a good score. I have nothing which goes next to the J. only my S goes next to AD. Now, what about a play through BA? Can't see anything. Now, looking lower down, parallel to bayonets. Many of my spots have been taken by Jade. But my M can still go next to this E. Now, am I sure I haven't got a 5-letter play beginning with the E? What about evect? I think evection is good. I think evect is not. So I just can't see anything there. Well, what about a play coming down, beginning with the M? Can't see anything, and I note my column 9 spot has been taken because AYE doesn't take C or P in front. So I'm in quite a tricky spot here. I could play temps, which plays off 5 vowels. Which goes some way to sorting the rack out. It's a little bit dangerous sticking the S out here, but if my opponent bingos in row L, the play will not be doubled, and 25 points is okay for a score. Horrendous pickup. 2 C's and a V, well, and the F are all pretty horrendous. However, I do have 2 vowels, and it may be better to play through this than to change. I note immediately that I've got caved on my rack, although I can't see anywhere for that. I do have an A for going next to the J, so I may have a play coming down here. Well, I've got fad. That's been blocked, but jug takes an A after it, so manna from heaven. $48 points. Have I missed something better? Well, what would be better would be sticking a high-scoring tile on this double letter square. But I can't see any way of doing that. I think this is best. More horror. But I have a vowel and I have a lead. And the Y is a quasi-vowel. Fady is good. That plays in column 14. So this isn't a disastrous rack at all. But the board is fairly lacking in opportunities. I note that my D can go next to AD, so I may have a play coming down column 13. Close to fund if I had an N. I have a lot of high-scoring tiles, and by high-scoring I mean more than 2 points. I have 5 of them. They're good for score, but not good for bingos. I'd quite like to take out this S. This board is very unbingo-y apart from the S. Wow, 37 points for my opponent. A good score for him, and he's not opened up anything. But the difficulty I have with this S is that it's surrounded by consonants and is a consonant. So my options are limited. My M can go next to the M. High Oi takes nothing in front. I've got nothing which goes after Chi. What about down from the A? I could play away, that would obstruct the S, although it itself takes an S. My fady spot has been taken. My M can go in front of uni. So I could play DWAM. And although I'm keeping 3 consonants, that's better than keeping 4, and FY is a useful 2-letter word. 18 points is not great, but I'm not opening anything up. I'm not blocking the bingo lane through the S, which I can't see a good way of doing. But DWAM itself is only opening up a bingo lane in column 3 for an 8-letter play with D in exactly 7th place, so it's not particularly dangerous. I draw a vowel, but more importantly, I don't draw any more high-scoring tiles. I've got Flossie on my rack. I have 2 S's, so I can certainly burn one of them fairly cheaply if I want to. But the lack of vowels means I will struggle to score well and take out the bingo danger of the S. I have an 80-point lead that will vanish if my opponent bingos, or all but vanish. Now if I did play a play in row L beginning with my C, something like Cloys, that would be pretty killing in terms of bingo lanes. So 20 points for my opponent, who has opened up a good or a hot 5-letter lane. However, I've got nothing, and none of my high-scoring tiles goes after MU, so that doesn't work. So my opponents played Dewey and Rez, neither of which have provided anything. That makes it harder for me to score. So I could play Cloys. It doesn't score very much. My opponent may then play down column 8, but won't score very much. But can I do better than Cloys? Cloys, only 13 points. And it's keeping FSS, not a good keep. Surely there's something better. Now, what about playing down column 14, beginning SC? Can't see anything. So what to do? This is a complete ladder down here, which is no good for scoring. Muni takes an S, so I could have a play beginning with the S, running along row K, which would effectively take out the bingo danger of the S of Temps. So what do I have beginning with the S? Sly. That doesn't feel great. "11 minutes on my clock. Still both blanks to come. I'm tempted by Cloys. I just don't feel it's optimal. However, it's not giving too much away. It's basically only giving away column 8. I draw one of the blanks, and I've now got a pretty good rack. So I kept FSS. I've drawn EII blank, which is a good draw. Oftentimes that would unbalance the rack, but since my rack was unbalanced in the opposite direction, it's worked out quite well. So what about bingo lanes? The C means any bingo would have to have the blank as an H. Can't see anything there. What about column 14, running parallel to Dewey? My S could go after Ted's. Well, I can't see anything there. Okay, so through an O or an S, I would have ossifies. Ossified onto a D, this D in just the wrong spot. Now, do I have anything through the D? So that would be a bingo ending side, possibly. So FIS blank side. Don't think so. So if I can't bingo, what to do? Now I've got two S's, so I could play in row K. So I could play Fess. 37 points. It keeps two eyes, but not a disaster when you're scoring that well. I wonder if I had a play in row K last time ending. I wonder if I had Foss last time. I had Cloy, FSS. Yeah, probably Foss would have been the play, and that would have taken out the S danger of Temps. So I think Foss last go was the play. Annoying to have missed that. Anyway, I am still in the lead, and Cloy's did have some merit. Fiss not good. Only two eyes to come, so retaining two isn't a disaster. The real pain with keeping two eyes is having three the next go, which is very unbingo-y. My opponent's taken a while with many of his moves. He's got just over 7 minutes left, and there's 33 tiles to come, and the board is fairly blocked. So I'm minded to try and play quickly. However, he has now played and provide floaters, so I have ossified and ossifies, both of which open up a 9 timer in column 15, and there's still a blank out there, and the remaining tiles are pretty bingo-y. So, do I have something, well, through the N, but preferably beginning or ending with the N? Can't see anything. What about the L? Not looking likely. So what about through the O, but beginning one square to its left? So something like fossilize. Or it could end O blank. Can't see anything. Well, I think the play is ossified. And I'm making ossified rather than ossifies to take out the IEST ending possibility in column 15. Not great, I don't draw the remaining blank. However, I do have, great, my opponent challenges. He loses 5 points. I'm over 100 points in front, 23 tiles in the bag. They're looking pretty bingo-y. And there are some bingo lanes, and the most dangerous one is column 15, where my opponent could have a 9 timer and score 150 odd points. However, he wouldn't be guaranteed to win the game. Now, Mux is good, but I can't see a way of getting that to score twice. I'm looking for spots for my X. I'm wondering if I can get it on this triple letter square at F2. I don't think so. Through an L, I would have klaxon. I've got hoax in column 3, but that doesn't score hugely, and it's keeping a poor rack leave. Now, if my opponent doesn't play in column 15, if the 9 timer remains available, I probably ought to take it out. How best to do that? Ah, well, quite a nice play by my opponent. 10 takes an E and an S in front. Now, can I play in row O, placing my X underneath the E of ossified? Don't think so. I don't have a tile for going in front of 10. So let me forget about the X. Can I place something else, either in column 15 or row O? 8 minutes on my clock. Well, this is hard. I'm sure there is something here. Can't see anything ending in D, which starts at H15. Can't see anything, well, can't see anything at all in column 15 or row O, which is immensely annoying. My K and X can go over this I. I could play Koa, which doesn't kill the 9 timer, but it massively reduces its danger. 29 points is a good score. Ratcliffe is ropey. Great, I draw a vowel. The remaining tiles looking even more bingo-y. My opponent could well have a bingo now in column 1, but I'm 150 points ahead, so I should still be in the lead. I've got Fado in column 15. 30 points to keep the score going. So I don't think column 15 is really a danger for me. Gosh, 3 E's, an S and a blank. I have none of them, so I cannot play in column 1 if my opponent doesn't. However, I could play Fox, Hex, and 2. That would be opening up a 9 timer. But it would be a restricted 9 time. It would have to have EF or SF, which is unlikely. Just wondering what else, or looking around for what else is available. The mucks, there goes my opponent bingoing, 74 points. 10 tiles in the bag, 4 minutes on his clock, 7 minutes on mine. He has... I'm just going to challenge this in case it's not good. I'm not always sure with ER words. It's fine. So, my Fox spot has been taken. Fado's available, but that's keeping 5 consonants, which is pretty grim. I could just play Mux, which has the advantage of scoring well, 28 points, and keeping my vowel. Plus it kills the 9 timer possibility of column 15. Just looking around in case there's anywhere great for my X. And I can't see anywhere. Okay, I draw another N, which isn't great. Okay, I just got to... Oh, I was going to say take the call, but it's gone. Now, 3 minutes on my opponent's clock. Nine tiles in the bag. I could play Fug and Bag. I'm about 90 points in the lead. Bingo possibilities on this board are limited, although they're not 0. So I think I will just keep on scoring with a lead this high. If my opponent does bingo, if I'm keeping on scoring, I'm still favourite to win. OE only takes an S after it, and any play in column 15 would use my vowel and leave a lot of consonants, so neither column 15 nor row O is particularly attractive. So all I've seen at the moment is fug. And my opponent takes that spot. Pretty annoying. I can't take out, or can't play in column 2 down to this triple letter square. I could play frogs in column 10. 17 points, which keeps my vowel, but also keeps duplicate M, which isn't good. 6 minutes on my clock. All the S's have gone now, so chin isn't going to get pluralized. I don't have a B for going in front of A. Now, can I play in column 10 with my P or F and play off one of my N's? Don't think so, so I think I'll go with frogs. 17 points. Pretty good pickup. This now looks fairly balanced. The only bingo lane is the N of Clon. Pontine is good if my opponent opens the board up. I could play that. I've got a 90-point lead. Mux takes nothing after it. My opponent could play Waddy in column 15 for 30 points, which would be a good score. I'm going to struggle to score. Yeah. Okay, 30 points for him. So I've got a 60-point lead. There are 2 tiles left. I probably need to take out this N and play off quite a few tiles if I can. So I could play point. Nine points, which is dismal. Absolutely dismal, but it totally kills the bingo lane. 4 minutes on my clock. I could probably score more playing down onto this D or W, but any such play would be providing floaters. This really does feel immensely poor. But I know it's good strategically. What about Piton just to take away this and score more? And it's not putting a vowel next to a triple letter square, but that wasn't particularly dangerous, given that there are no scoring tiles left. Well, what about, excuse me, what about playing pen on in that spot? Which increases my chances of being able to go out in 1. I'm drawing 2 from the bag, so I'll have 4 tiles after pen on, rather than 5. Okay, I have Toit, so I've got that in column 2, making ST. Do I have anywhere else for it? Or any other out? Don't think so. My O can go in front of the P. Well, that doesn't really assist. I think I've just got the 1 out in column 2. I'm 70 points in front. If my opponent bingos now, he wins. So that would mean column 3 with a D. Okay, he hasn't done that, and my toit spot remains available. And tarot is good, so I can also play it up here for 17. Just wait for my opponent to formally end the game. And my opponent does end the game. And the final score, 328 to my opponent, 414 to me. A winning margin of 86 points. So a big, big win. Let's see what I missed. So it was my opponent to go fast. They played Juve. I considered Quinn. I didn't fully didn't consider Quintin. That looks quite nice, but possibly Chin for 14 with this rack leave is better in terms of what it gives away, in terms of floaters. Now my opponent plays B. This is my rack. And I struggled here. I played high oi in the end for 27, keeping 3 consonants. Possibly hoi for 25, keeping the vowel. Would have been better. My opponent plays R high, which was great because it meant I had bayonet for 94. That looks nice. My opponent's got adjudge, which plays in column 12. They played jade. And this was an awful rack, and it began a run of tricky racks. Emps H11. Oh, wow. Gosh, that's annoying because I did at one point see Emps, and I was contemplating playing that in column 12, I think. But certainly in row H would have been better. It would have preserved my E and scored well. E-Vet's also available in that spot. Oh, well, that was a poor show. Again, the rack leave is not too bad. So what I did was Temps for 25, which is okay. It's just not as good as the best moves. Now my opponent plays Jug, which was perfect. I then had Caved, which looks fine. Nice rack for my opponent. They play Res. I have a dreadful rack. And Fum was available, making Bam. What did I do? I played Dwam for 18. Yeah, well, looking at these plays, they score more. The rack leaves are all awful. But some of them score a lot more, so Dwam not necessarily best. But hard to properly compare. Nice rack for my opponent. Plays Dewey. Now, Floss, K1. Oh, well, this is the spot I overlooked. Plays ending SS, which I spotted with the following move. I played Cloys in the end. Okay, I didn't play it down here. I played it across row L to kill the board. So it has strategic merit, but probably Floss certainly better because the F not particularly dangerous. However, look at this. My opponent's got a very bingo-y rack. Anyway, that's not the reason for deciding on previous plays. But at this point, they do have a bingo going through this D, but they're hard to spot. And it's not spotted. My opponent plays Clon. That gives me ossified. Not too many other options. 06. Yeah, as soon as you're dropping down to this N, you're dropping off by 13 points, which I don't think is justified. My opponent has no bingo at all here. That's surprising. Plays 10, which is a nice play, given that it opens up column 1. And I have another rack that I struggle with. What do I do? I play Koa for 29, which doesn't make this list, but it's still okay. It takes out the 9 timer and it scores okay. But go pick K10. Oh, very nice. Running through PI, and that also interferes with the 9 timer, and it scores well, keeps the vowel and the X. I think go pick is a much better play. My opponent now does have a bingo, Saluta. There are 10 tiles in the bag. I play mucks, and I think that's good. My opponent plays rug, and now just 7 tiles in the bag. Fado, I didn't like the 5 consonant keep. So I played frogs. I sacrificed 13 points in order to keep a slightly more flexible rack. NNOP, well, that's a lot better than GNNPR. So I quite like frogs. My opponent plays Wade for 30. And now this is where I played Pennon, I think. Yeah, I don't like these plays A2. The remaining tiles are bingo-y. I just don't want to open up bingo lanes in the top of the board. I'm not far enough ahead to do that. And it wouldn't necessarily be a good thing to do even if I were, because I would be risking diminishing my spread. So I play Pennon. My opponent doesn't have a bingo, plays arrow, and that leaves me with Toit to end the game. So quite an interesting game, some really tricky racks in the middle, very hard to spot the best plays, and I certainly didn't on a number of occasions, but that makes the game interesting and challenging, and hopefully interesting to watch as well. So I hope you enjoyed that game, and I will see you next time.